Good morning, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, and I just came across a little bit of a report of some 1.2 million year old caveman remains they found. And let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, do a little bit of crafting, and let's talk about this. All right, this sort of stuff is interesting because, one, I like to kind of cover the history of human nutrition. You guys know I do videos on this from time to time. And it's interesting because so many people get caught up in these naturalistic fallacies. You see everyone from paleo people to vegans claiming that what they're promoting is the natural diet of humans. Fruitarians claim the natural diet of humans is to eat fruit. Not true. Paleo people always claim that, humans eat nothing but vegetables and meat. And, they get into these big debates as to what's the natural diet of humans. And not eating grains is what they argue. Again, completely not true. All these groups really don't study any of this. They don't ever look at it in any detail. It's like they just make the facts up as they go, and they ignore all the data that's available when we actually find remains. They don't actually look at any of it. They refuse to look at any of it. And it's always interesting when we find remains. Now, I want to state up front, it's also important to remember not to get caught up in this whole fallacy that because something is natural and normal that it's automatically healthier. Case in point, humans are supposed to die anytime you get a really major infection. You're supposed to die. Antibiotics are about the most unnatural thing I have ever heard of. To actually use a drug to kill off major bacteria in your body that's supposed to kill you, that's not natural. That's supposed to kill us. That's one of the major causes of death in humans. Besides starvation, historically, has been major infections. We created antibiotics to counter that, and it's been absurdly life-extending. There are many people who've added 50 or 70 years of their life from a single course of antibiotics that would have killed them. Really common. So remember, just because something is the natural way of things doesn't mean it's better. And a natural diet isn't automatically going to ensure that you're healthy or live longer. You have to keep in mind, people from previous eras died of malnutrition in spite of these diets. What's interesting about humans is that we have the single most varied diet on any, pretty much of any species. That's been a big part of our success, and a big part of that has been our ability to have a very GI tract. We have a GI tract that's capable of handling things like most omnivores. We have a very omnivorous GI tract because we cook food, we prepare food, we use various tools to get to food inside of things that we wouldn't otherwise be able to eat. To break up hard casings on food, to cook food, to make it more nutritious and easier to digest. We do a lot of things that have helped us do this. Now, they found some remains over in Europe, though, a little bit to the contrary, and I'll link it below, obviously. But they found in the tartar of this 1.2 million year old pre-human, not quite our species because humans weren't around 1.2 million years ago, but the last species before us was. Well, what was interesting, normally we find all these cooked meat and grains and everything, which is really what's really hilarious. You can dismiss the raw vegans immediately by noting all the cooked meat, all right, and particularly the insects. Humans ate enormous amounts of bugs and insects for every single fossil record we could find. We find insects and we find grains in their stomachs. All right, so the grains just completely dispel the paleo crowd. We go back tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years. When we find these fossils, there's grains in their GI tract. Humans ate grains anytime they could find them on any continent. All the evidence suggests that. So again, you can kind of laugh at both of these groups, and they're absolute ridiculous pseudoscience. But in this one, we found raw meat in the tartar of their teeth, because your tartar that builds up on your teeth tends to keep chunks of your food. Now, this one was interesting. We found raw grass seeds, so they were eating grass and chewing the seeds. We found raw meat, traces of raw meat that hadn't been cooked, found all in the tartar. And I generally recommend cooking meat. Most humans have always historically cooked meat. But I mean, I've eaten raw meat. I've grown up on a ranch. I've grown up as a hunter. I've totally eaten raw meat before. It's honestly not that bad as long as it's fresh. I mean, that's the main thing. You don't want to eat raw meat that was killed 6 hours ago or, just been sitting in your refrigerator. It doesn't taste good. But freshly killed raw meat, as long as it's not a diseased animal, not really a problem. I've done it. I tend to like my steaks extra rare. So, not unusual. If they were in a hurry and they were hungry, and many of them, not every single tribe necessarily 1.2 million years ago knew how to cook. Maybe they didn't all have fire always all the time. We know that most did. We know that most humans a million years ago were cooking with fire. But there were probably exceptions because it's not necessarily universal knowledge, or there could have been stray individuals out there foraging or whatever. And maybe that's why we found this fossil remains of this one. It was a little more isolated than others, out foraging alone or in a smaller group, and therefore the remains got buried away somewhere and not disturbed as part of a big social situation. But clearly was eating raw meat because they found raw meat in his tartar. So maybe this is someone who on the move a lot would catch game, kill game, or whatever, eat it right there on the spot. They also found, obviously, butterfly wings and scales in there because we know they ate insects. Humans were enormous insect eaters historically. We've eaten tons of bugs. Now, a lot of us today, ooh, that's gross, that's gross. But the same thing. I mean, you take any basic wilderness survival type training or any course, you're going to learn to eat grasshoppers and grub worms and things like that. Grubs in wood don't taste very good, but you can live on them. You can dig them out with a knife, get you some protein when you're on the move. Grasshoppers, of course, aren't that bad. I've talked to people about this, like, what do you mean? You eat grasshoppers when you're out hunting. Grasshoppers when you're out in the woods, you're out deep in the wilderness. Catch grasshoppers, you pull the head off, pop it out, throw the gut away so that you don't get that. You bite it, eat it, take the spines off so they don't get caught in your throat, those little spines on the back legs. Because you want kind of the drumstick there because it's meaty, and you toss it away and eat it. It's really not bad. I mean, I've done it tons of times. So, grasshoppers, things like that, that's part of our normal diets to eat bugs. Couldn't imagine sitting around cooking them. I don't necessarily, I've tried cooked bugs before and I didn't really care for it so much. But yeah, grasshoppers on the go, and remember the yellow ones taste better than the green ones. Green ones are more bitter. But yeah, we ate bugs. And then what's interesting, they found lots of little wood particles in there, and they think that's because they were basically using twigs, this individual, to clean their teeth as a form of dental hygiene to get stuff out of the teeth, which would make sense, because historically they would have got stuff caught in their teeth just like we do. We use toothpicks today. We've been using them forever. I mean, toothpicks go way back, so this shows that toothpicks could have been being used over 1 million years ago. We don't like the feeling of stuff caught in our teeth. It doesn't feel right, and probably one of the reasons for that is because it's bad for our teeth to have food caught in there. And so even historically, with the shape of teeth we have, we probably found ways to get things in there, and twigs are the easiest thing to use to just get that stuff out of your teeth. So that was interesting that they found all of that. But yeah, the whole thing with the raw meat, that's a bit different because we know, and when I say we the human race, based upon all the data out there, people always get mad when you say we when talking about science. They're like, well, you didn't conduct the research. Yeah, but I read the research. I'm a human being. I benefit from the knowledge. Just like you say, we know how to calculate with the Pythagorean theorem. Now, it doesn't mean we're all Pythagoreans, but we all know how to do it. Everyone watching this channel can, find the length of a hypotenuse. Anyone who graduated high school can do that. The entire educated human world, every first world and probably even third world country just about that have a formal education system, you can do that. We, the human race, know that. Now, it's interesting, though, with the raw meat, because this individual, that's what they found, that he didn't mention any cooked meat, which meant this one individual didn't seem to cook. That's kind of the exception to the rule. But if the joke is, of course, do we have to tell all the paleo people now and the raw vegans and everyone else who claims that they follow a natural human diet and that's what they try to focus on, that they have to start eating raw meat now? And it's always funny when these things come up because I love reading through the paleo stuff and them arguing about whether almonds are paleo or not, and they bake all these cakes with almond crust and everything, and it really gets hilarious when they make these arguments as to what's paleo or not, because the truth is it doesn't matter. Paleo is one of those things that if people had just taken it at face value and not got stupid with it, it isn't a bad idea. Eat lean proteins, eat plenty of vegetables, try to minimize your refined foods. Had they left it there and called that paleo, that would have been fantastic. That would improve 90% of people's health right there. Those rules, those are amazing rules. But when they started coming up with all these crazy rules and trying to determine what's paleo and what's not, it gets insane, especially the grain thing, because humans have always eaten grains. Almost every single fossil record that we find that has a GI tract that we can see what's in it, there's grains in it. We have found tools for harvesting grains that are, 15 plus thousand years old. They were out in fields trying to just get grains enough to eat. Humans have always eaten grains. They want to argue about these things, and ultimately it gets funny when you look at the way that they go about it, because they get so serious about it. And the truth is, do you know what humans eat? Humans eat everything. That is the trait of the human diet. Humans find a way to turn everything into food. Anything that any other animal eats anywhere on their continent or their region, humans find a way to eat it. That is historically what we have done. We find a way to cook it to make it palatable. We find a way to crack it open to get to it if it's indigestible. We find a way to eat everything that any other species eats other than carrion. That's about the only thing we don't eat normally, unless you're in a true starvation situation. So that's the point with the human race and all these things that we find, these fossil records. We find that humans literally ate everything. That is a paleo diet, to eat everything you can get your hands on. And when you think about it, they found ways to process foods back then to make foods more edible that they found. And we know that humans have been doing this for every single record we can go back and find, even over 1 million years old. It turns out that humans found a way to process foods to get the things, whether that was cracking open a hole with a tool or cooking it. But they found a way to get that nutrition on the inside. Because we have an adaptable GI tract, we've learned to use fire, we've learned to use tools, and we use our brains to find a way to make things into food that we might not have otherwise been able to eat. And that is basically what a natural human diet is. What you ate depended upon what continent and region you were sitting in. And humans found a way to eat everything. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.